Hello everybody, this is Brandon from Galaxydoc Market. Today is May 4th, 2025. It's Sunday, approximately 8:08 a.m. as I bring you this weekend update as well as look ahead for the markets. And the earnings season is in full swing, and Apple reported earnings this past week. And the title of my presentation is As Apple Goes, So Goes the Stock Market. And this is a commentary on the recent relief rally for the last 3 weeks, and we'll go over all the technicals and see where we're at. And we talked about this market having this relief rally, and it is in full swing. All right, so let's get moving. Here's the disclaimer. If you agree, please move forward. If you do not, then turn it off. Of course, we are active on x.com/Galaxydoc Market. We have a lot of intraday commentaries, a lot of reposts, and as well as interesting tidbits about our technical analysis intraday. Those are posted here. Of course, our members get them a lot earlier. However, we are focused mostly on x.com, just not getting the engagement on YouTube for I don't know why. And so, but we will continue to post things on YouTube, and continue to like us and subscribe us there. But our main posts are going to be on x.com going forward. All right, so we talked about being in that holiday season. We had the Good Friday holiday shortened weeks generally kick off these type of relief rallies and can be very bullish. And so the next one is actually a little further away, Memorial Day, which is May 26th. So this week is going to be continuation of what we had last week, and the market is rallying ahead of the FOMC, which is on Wednesday. I think it's the May 7th, 2025 at 2 p.m. And then, of course, we're going to have Powell's presser, which is going to be interesting. I think the Fed has lost complete control of the market, and we'll talk more about the 10-year yield and the Apple price action going forward. Black Swan is present, but they're sleeping a little bit for now. But here's what I am saying is that we need to watch the Apple price action. It is diverging from the rest of the market, but Apple is a big component of the S&P 500. And as the market is rallying, Apple is diverging post-earnings release, which wasn't all that bad. The problem is with growth and how the China tariff and Trump's tariffs on China is going to affect Apple. And FOMC is the big deal, although it won't have the firepower that it once did. I think everybody's seeing the impact of Fed and Trump calling for rate cuts, and he's touting the interest rates coming down, but it really hasn't. If you look at the 10-year yield, and we'll go over that, it is actually hasn't budged. It's actually in the high end, which continues to put the banks under pressure. So we got to watch the 10-year yield, Treasury Yield. And, people are talking about gold and silver apocalypse, and I think that's premature. I mean, if you think about it, gold hit all-time highs at 35.09 just a week and a half ago, and it pulls back, and nothing goes up in a straight line, folks. It pulls back, and now everybody's marching out and talking about gold going to 1,800, 2,800, how silver's going to go back down to below the 30, and some are even talking about 1,875. That's ludicrous. Okay, this economy and the market is in trouble, and there is a push towards the United States. As I've always said, Trump is setting United States up for bankruptcy. Okay, that's what's happening. So black swan warnings still present themselves every single day. All right, it's just been a little quiet. But if you read between the lines, there's a lot of things that are just brewing and percolating. And obviously, the good news about all this is that the options premiums have come down. Okay, we just got to be a little patient, scalp these rips, and then short the dips. Okay. Scalp not short the dips, but short the rips. All right. So let's look at the market technical picture. So what we have is the fear and greed index continuing to rise, still in the fear section, but it is climbing the wall of worry, right? And I think we're going to be probably somewhere in neutral before all this is over. So we need to just be cognizant of what the market is doing. Again, markets do not go down in a straight line. And these type of couple of weeks, 2-3 week rips are nothing unusual in the context of a bear market. And I believe that's what we're at. Okay. And the good thing, again, is that the option premiums have come down. Okay. And so the options, again, both on the long side and the short side, is a lot more palatable. And it may be more conducive to producing some good gains. All right. So here is the SPY long-term monthly uptrend line. And basically, this is a bottoming candle. Everybody's saying, oh no, there's going to be a new bull market forming and Trump's got things under control. I'm not sure if Trump has everything under control. There's just too much pushback from the powers that be, from the corporations, from the Fed. I mean, it's more of a cataclysmic battle between Trump administration and not only the Democrats, but also the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay, they're not going to go quietly. Okay, these deep state are not going to go quietly, folks. All right, so the VIX continue. I said last week that it was on full sell signal with divergent 50 SMA signal. We have yet another sell signal, and I think we're targeting right into this 1856 possibly. Okay, and I think this is going to be an area that we're going to be looking at to be adding into the VIX calls. All right. Let's go. And MSI, McClellan Submission Index, has been last week. I said, hey, look, it's been bottoming and we're going to break out. And we certainly have. And that is indicative of the relief rally that's having. Okay. RSI strength is showing here, but now we're nearing those extreme levels where we're going to be looking for these divergences. Okay. And these divergences on the McClellan Submission Index will give us an early warning signal of the short-term uptrend change. All right, so, and then of course that question about, has gold topped? Is it really headed to 2,800 or even worse? Some are even talking about this craziness of 1850 as a target. I mean, you know, and I think those are incompatible with what's going on in a macroeconomic situation. Yes, we topped a little bit here. We tried to break out and failed. And when you can't break out, it'll come back, build energy, probably headed towards this green line, which is the 80 MA, and then chop around here for a little bit sometime next week and move higher. And that's what's happening. And so weekly chart is showing that yes, there is a little bit of a pullback. That's to be expected. Anytime we hit all-time highs, we get these type of pullback candles, and we pull back and chop around for a few weeks and then move higher. Okay, so what is the anticipated timeline for gold to break out? I think we're really close. I think this one's going to be, if you notice that the time between all of these all-time highs and pullbacks are becoming shorter and shorter, right? I mean, this really is shorter. And so I expect maybe this week to chop around this way and then start to break out post FOMC again. Okay, I don't think anything good is going to come out of Powell's mouth. Okay, he'll be defiant though. I don't think Trump and Powell like each other, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so as far as silver goes, a few chart extends out. This is a long-term cup and a handle pattern along with this volatility box that's present right here. Okay, and so we're waiting for this to finish chopping around. It's going to do that. It requires patience, but we're going to be breaking out shortly. Okay, all right, so that's what I got on the silver. And then, of course, U.S. dollar, all right? U.S. dollar kind of sort of bottomed here. We're really at that inflection point right around this 100 level. And, you know, there has been a rescue attempt that's in progress. We'll see if it breaks out further or we're going to just start petering out. The level to watch out for is 98.0. Below 98, dollar is going to sell off significantly. Remember, I don't believe the dollar is the reserve currency of the world anymore. I mean, I think we lost a lot of clout in the last 4 years. And if you just read through the tea leaves, Trump is really preparing the United States for bankruptcy, like I said. Okay. All right. So 10-year yield is rising ahead of the Fed. Oh, no. What does that mean? Okay. Rising yield means that the bonds are selling off. Rising yield also means that despite the fact that Trump is saying that the interest rates are coming down and things like that, if you look at the economic data and what the 10-year yield is telling you at 43.22, this is danger zone. All the banks are insolvent. They're just pretending to be solvent. Of course, there's rumors circulating that a big major European bank is in trouble. It has liquidity issues, and that the Federal Reserve apparently has basically injected some liquidity into the system. That only happens when there's a big problem headed that way. And if I had to guess, it's Deutsche Bank, folks. All right? I've been saying that for years. All right, so let's see what's going on with the S&P 500 and the technical analysis of what I think is coming. So let's look at the SPY real quick. And this is the daily. And daily is, like I said, we're in a kind of a short-term uptrend. We've kind of bottomed near the 510. And I think really the targets that we need to look at is that if we get above this red line right here, okay, this trend line, okay, that's the 20 SMA. And so somewhere between here and I believe this upper trend line is where it's headed. I think there's going to be a significant resistance off of this green line, which is the 100 SMA. All right. And it's something to bear in mind. MACD is kind of, slowing down from its torrid pace on its rally. And I think the volume really is coming down also. Okay. I mean, it's been pretty bullish, but nothing compared to these gigantic sell volumes, or in the buy volumes that has. It's a below average volume. Okay. Now, the CCI is at the top end of the range. And again, these are the levels at which we're going to start seeing some divergences. So we better be watching out for those. On the weekly, again, it's this 20 SMA on the weekly that's going to be significant. Okay. Can it try to take out this 610? It's possible. I mean, make a double top and come down. I highly unlikely. This is a relief bounce, folks. All right. SMCI, they pre-reported their earnings, which is horrific. I think this is the biggest fraud company out there, and yet it just sits there and chopping around, obviously. All right. And so on the weekly, we kind of came down into the 28 level, and now we're stalling out at that, again, this red line. Very significant, 20 SMA. Okay. Can it go a little higher? Sure it can. I think it's really running out of steam. You see the sell volume coming in. There's really hasn't been any type of buying activity. So this is just buying its time, building energy up and down into this channel. And if it breaks this 200 SMA, it's over. Game is over. It is going all the way down into this between $15 and $10 range. Okay. I'm an SMCI hater because I just think there's something weird going on with that company. All right, so on Tesla, nothing I can say. It's just been very, very bullish. We've kind of bottomed out here. I think we're really targeting that 20 SMA right now. Okay, Apple, but Apple is warning you. Okay, that this relief rally is anything but bullish. Okay, Apple is leading the market. It's a market leading kind of a stock. It's a big component of the S&P 500. And when the stock like this diverges from the rest of the market and the market goes higher, there's manipulation here. All right, folks. All right. So what is happening with Apple? Is Apple going to, it looks like it's been telling us for a while that Apple is going to go higher, but it hasn't. So the momentum indicators, any of the indicators that we're using to look for divergences are not really commensurate with what the price action is doing. I think really if we can't get above into this 223 level next week, I think we're going further, start testing into this 180 to 171 range. Okay. UPS. Oh boy, UPS is the biggest barometer. Shipping, activity is telling you that the recession is coming. Okay, if you don't see this, what this UPS is telling you right here, and that it's headed into this 86, to 80 level. All right, this is where it's headed, folks. All right. So pay attention to what UPS is warning you about. And then, of course, we have Upstart reporting earnings. We need to start paying attention to this again, partly because I think it could definitely pop after earnings and then drop. Okay, I'm not so sure if I want to, advocate front running any of this, but Upstart is the one you want to watch for this week. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, if this thing would ever move, okay, we need to talk about some earnings that are coming up. Palantir is going to be a big deal. They've been on a tear over the last 8 months. All right. Went all the way from $18. We're in the hundreds, 110s. Okay. I've been saying that Palantir was breaking out way back in, I think August or September. Okay. Watch Datadog and Marriott. These are all what we want to look at. Okay. Of course, SMCI already pre-reported earnings. So, we don't have to worry about that. But keep an eye on SMCI. I think it's going to go to 15. Upstart and Wynn, obviously. Walt Disney. All right. Oh boy, their woke ways. Are they going to continue their ways? And then Carvana is reporting earnings. I'm just figuring out how they're turning profits. And so this may be the one that we want to be watching also. Shopify for, kind of the small business activity. Coinbase. And Mercado Libre. And I like Mercado Libre. Possible great price action here in Affirm. Okay, those are the ones you want to be watching, that we're going to be watching. There are others, but just for brevity's sake, I just want to show you something that's readily available. These are what we like to focus on. XRP and Bitcoin actually has been doing really well. Okay, so Bitcoin right now, as we speak, is at 95,000. It's been hovering between 94 and 97,000. XRP is at $2.18. Like I said, if you look at all of these price actions, let's look at Bitcoin. Very bullish, right? You look at XRP. All right, we kind of bottomed out and we're just basically stair-stepping higher, right? You see that, right? We're just stair-stepping higher, just moving higher from these levels. Just boom, pull back, boom, and then we're just going to pull back. That type of an action, that's very constructive. One thing that I want to look at, obviously, is also Shiba Inu. I just think that this has an interesting setup. And I'm not sure, but why I think that this is a meme coin. But just keep an eye on Shiba Inu. Maybe it's nothing, maybe it's something, but I put it right up there. Just looks like it's coiled and ready to break out. So that's kind of what we have. XRP is also buying USDC. Is there a rumor circulating, or is that real deal? Okay, I heard Ripple is up the ante to about $15 to $20 billion. We won't know until the deal gets done. If XRP, which already has its own stablecoin network, and it's buying USDC, it's even bigger than what we've been thinking about. It's going to be more than the reserve currency. I think they're really trying to consolidate not just the cross-border payments, becoming the reserve currency for the world. I think it just basically wants to consolidate and compete against USDT, which I do believe is fraudulent. Okay, so gold is in a technical pullback. Silver is absolutely suppressed, but won't last long. Last week it was at 113 to 1. This week ended at 110 to 1 as gold is pulling back. We're waiting for the market stall and silver breakout. And Apple is quietly warning you, along with the 10-year yield. Okay, if you think that we're going to the moon, that's not going to happen. All right, so is gold going to 2850? No, we're not. Okay, watch the 10-year yield ahead of the FOMC this week, which is Wednesday, May 7th. I think Fed and the Trump are diametrically opposed to each other. Okay, gold is in a technical pullback. Silver just needs to wake up. Patience required. XRP and Bitcoin has bottomed. Like I said, something about Shiba Inu's chart that I like. So we're looking at it. Long, gold, silver, VIX, XRP, XDC. Short watches, we're still short on Apple. Carvana's earnings coming up. Disney's earnings coming up. Coin, Win, UPS shit the bed. And it will continue to go down. Watch that 95 level on UPS, folks. Watch the Upstart earnings. That's the big one. Okay. This is a relief rally. Nothing more, nothing less. Option premiums are coming down and they're really palatable. Buy some time and start nibbling on longer term puts. Or we play it both ways. Right now, we're just scalping the rips and the dips. All right. Here we go. Quick scalps on ES, NQ, SPY, and QQQ. That's how we stay interested until we wait for gold and silver to wake up. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Follow me at Galaxydoc Market. Okay, like us, share us, and above all, comment, obviously. And if you want to look into joining our group, ask about our alerts group. Okay. And you'll get all the watch lists. You'll get the daily commentary, as well as intraday technical things that we think are necessary. It's for more of the people that are looking for what is Galaxydoc Market looking at, what are they trading, so then you can focus your attention and get my pivot levels and market commentaries at the beginning of the day and intraday. All right, so if you like that, please do so. Please subscribe on YouTube, although I'm going to continue to post my videos on there. I guess my political commentary was not to YouTube's liking. Okay, but I'll still post there. Doesn't matter. All right, but follow us mainly on x.com. Okay, so thank you so much. Let's get some alpha. After Wednesday, it's going to be a doozy after the FOMC announcement. Okay, bye-bye.